Good afternoon and welcome to Complex PTSD TV. My name's Linda. I'm your certified trauma recovery coach, and welcome to Complex PTSD TV Tips for Recovery. Now, I wanted to give you a quick update because along my recovery route, I actually managed to find some interesting tips that we can use, all of us can use in different ways. And I also wanted to update you on my health because, as we know, it's always an ongoing journey into good health. And I wanted for you to be able to have some questions so that you can ask yourself some more introspective questions, and along the way begin to be able to go, yeah, I can see how that question is taking me deeper into my own awareness. Now, this is in part about abandonment depression. That's the word, abandonment depression as well. And if you've read Pete Walker's book, okay, hands up everybody who's read Pete Walker's book, then you would know that he talks about abandonment depression, and I've also done other videos on abandonment depression. So if you jump on my YouTube channel, onto my actual channel, and search abandonment depression, there are actually more videos there about it, and about my journey through it, and how I came across it, how it knocked me flat. So I would be sitting in a chair, in my lounge chair, put my gym shoes on. Next thing you know, I'd be waking up and going, oh my goodness, what happened? You know, I fell asleep, and it was like, how did that happen? Why did that happen? And I had no idea at the time what was going on. So progress through to now, when a couple of weeks ago, and I woke up and I could actually feel that the depression, the abandonment depression trigger had gone off. So what does that feel like? It means that your whole body is literally being flooded with the neurochemicals, everything, whatever your trauma response is from the abandonment wound as well. And as I lay there, I went, this is progress. Because before, it had taken me up to 5 days to realise that the abandonment wound depression trigger had actually gone off. It took me for my son to actually be saying to me, Mum, I think you're depressed, or you've got depression. I'm like, but I'm not depressed. I don't feel depressed. I just can't get up and function. Or I'm not taking good care of myself. So that could mean that I forget to put the washing on for a few days, or I've forgotten to do the dishes, or I've forgotten how to stick to my budget, and so on. And it's not something that we do consciously. This is all stuff that's being triggered at the neurological level, and it's an unconscious trigger. And we have to be willing to do some work to get to the state where we actually get to a stage of, like I was 2 weeks ago, and go, wow, I know it's gone off. Now, it didn't go off that day, that morning that I woke up, but I could get a real feeling, a real sensation of that it had gone off the day before, and I wasn't aware. But it's like it gives you this impression through your entire system that things are running on the down low into the depression. But this is the thing about the abandonment wound depression. We don't necessarily feel depressed, okay? And this is why I worked out it was at the neurological level, okay, at our brain level, that there's a trigger that goes off, and it's really, really subtle, because it was nothing conscious. I was I was motivated. I was sitting, getting ready to go to gym. And then next thing you know, I'm waking up an hour or so later and going, oh my goodness, what's going on? Now, the questions to look for yourself in this area are to begin to make notes of when you're not able to stick to your routine, okay? When you're not able to get your self-care done, when you're falling asleep and you didn't even, there was no intention to fall asleep. And that was one of the big indicators for me. And losing time. I used to lose vast tracts of time, and the only way I saw it was I'd look back and I'd think, oh my goodness, the work I'm doing, I should have had that done. And not because it's a should, it was just like an honest reflection of looking back, looking at the work I had to do, and it wasn't done. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And this is why it's so important. The education side of things is so vitally important for us, because until we have the education, we have the language, and then we can begin even the internal journey, we don't know what's going on. It feels like it's right out of our control and there's nothing that we can do about it. So for this video, I want you to be able to take away from this that you want to start looking for the patterns, okay, in your habits. So I have a set routine every morning, but it starts the night before. So the night before, I get organised for my day. So I'll write out what my clients are, what other events that I've got on or appointments I've got on, and that forms the beginning of the framework of my day. And then I add to the beginning, okay, this is what I want to do when I get up. So I want to do my meditation. I want to get dressed. I want to go to gym. I want to come home and do my trauma-informed movement. I want to shower and I want to have breakfast. And just from that simple analogy, like simply putting those things into place, if they're not happening, I can begin to tell that something's not right, okay? Because I'm motivated, I want to get things done, I enjoy what I'm doing, I love my life. And if I can't do those things, then something has to be going wrong internally. There has to be a trauma response that's happening that I'm not aware of. But because I'm so far into the depth of awareness now, I obviously can get a hold of it a lot quicker. So these are the reasons why you work with your certified trauma recovery coach, why you work with a trauma therapist. And on that note, when you're listening to people, you want to make sure whether they're trauma trained, not just trauma aware, and not just a life coach, thanks for all the good work they do. You need somebody who's actually been trained in trauma, especially when we're talking about complex trauma, okay? People can sound like they know what's happening for complex trauma, but if they haven't got that internal journey and internal understanding, they don't understand that there are so many depths to this onion, It's like I peel away a layer and then there's something else that I've got to put into place and address. But the good news is, over this past nearly 2 weeks, I've been really sick, because I find that another analogy that goes with the abandonment depression is that I become physically unwell, and my sickness is usually dry infected sinuses, and it is still. But what normally happens is I don't recognize that for a long time, okay? And it's easy to confuse the two, because dry infected sinuses knocks me for a six as well. It makes you so sick that you just pass out. So what I've learnt to do as well in my daily routine is do things like take multivitamin, take vitamin C. I have a vaporizer on in my room at night. And even if I'm not doing those things, then I make sure that I'm aware that I'm not doing them. And when I'm aware that I'm not doing them, it builds in more consistency that I'll get back on track a lot quicker. So look at those things, sit down, grab a note, paper and pen, write out your routine for your day, each day, the night before, okay? And then if it's not happening and you're in a triggered state, then we need to be working towards developing your ability to be able to go within and get access to what's not just what's triggering you, okay? It's a trauma response, and it can come from a couple of different areas. So one of the things that I've been really grateful for is an increased ability to gain an awareness of what's happening at my physical level. So I was off at gym Monday morning, and I could literally feel the bottom of my feet had pins and needles in them. And I'm like, this is amazing. I can actually feel, it's called a felt sense on the bottom of my feet. And I went, oh, wow. And the reason why for me it's, oh, wow, it's like all the oxygen is finally starting to get through into each part of my body and free me up. So what I did was slow down on the walking machine, and I'm constantly making sure I'm taking deep breaths in and out, because when we are in a triggered state, we shallow breathe or hold our breath. So we have got to retrain. Well, this is what I found with complex PTSD. We've got to retrain our whole body and brain and sense of self to be able to go, wow, this is what's happening for me. Then I know how to put into place the things to deal with it. Okay, so do your structure, because then when your structure goes out the window, you can say, right, am I in a triggered state? What do I need to do? If I don't know what I need to do, then I need to be talking to somebody who does know what I need to do, and we need to be working on this, because each and every one of us deserve to have our life back, okay? Each and every one of us deserve to be able to live our lives with joy and not have the triggers, which can be physical, driven from the brain in the unconscious, not conscious or subconscious. It can be planted back in the unconscious. I've had things come up that have been passed down to me from previous generations that I knew weren't mine, and they're stored in the brain and the body, and they've just been released because I keep doing this internal work and becoming more well. So I want to encourage you, keep taking one next step and know that we can become increasingly more well. All right, have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.